All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bear Sheath Farm with your host, Levite Khan. Today we're reading Deuteronomy chapter 13, 14, 15, and 16. So we're steadily getting through the Torah. And in doing that, after I'm done with this, I'll go ahead and play a video for you. It has a lot of good information, and I will recommend that you do subscribe to that gentleman and hit the notification bell. I use a lot of his information and that. So that being said, let me make sure everything's working here.
Give us a thumbs up if it's working.
Okay, that part is good. We're good. Okay, all my techno is working.
Amen.
Can you shut that door?
It is shut.
Oh wow. Anyway,
It's because I'm not in there.
Okay. Anyway, what are we supposed to do here with that nonsense going on?
Oh, I guess I'll have to go back in there.
Can't win for losing, or you could let them both out and just run around. No, of course not. That's not an option. Okay, let's do Deuteronomy 13. I'll just do your best to ignore her little ESA, as in emotional support animals.
He has anxiety problems.
Anyway, Deuteronomy chapter 13. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign of the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, Let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for the Lord your God proveth you, to know whether you love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. See, again, a lot of people have this mistake that Old Testament has nothing to do with the heart. Well, we've read this several times already in the first 5 books, as we say. Anyway, verse 4. Ye shall walk after the Lord your God, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he hath spoken to turn you away from the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which the Lord thy God commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is as thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, Let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him. Thine hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people. And thou shalt stone him with stones that he die, because he hath sought to thrust thee away from the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you. If thou shalt hear say in one of thy cities, which the Lord thy God hath given thee, do dwell there, saying, Certain men, the children of Belial, are gone out from among you, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their cities, saying, Let us go and serve other gods which ye have not known. Then shalt thou inquire, and make search, and ask diligently, and behold, if it be truth, and the thing certain that such abomination is wrought among you, thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is therein. And the battle thereof with the edge of the sword. And thou shalt gather all the spoil of it into the midst of the street thereof, and shall burn with fire the city, and all the spoil thereof, every whit, for the Lord thy God, and it shall be in heat forever. It shall not be built again. And there shall cleave not of the cursed thing to thine hand, that the Lord may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and shew thee mercy, and have compassion upon thee, and multiply thee as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, when thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep all his commandments, which I command thee this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of the Lord thy God. All right, that's all 18 verses of Devarim, as we see in Hebrew, chapter 13. There's a lot of hard things being said in here about how they want to do crush, to basically stomp out sin, and how you can't play favorites, and that can get to be a really tough one with your spouse, with your, other family members, and that. But it's like, look, put Elohim first. Put Yah the Father first through his son Yeshua, the Mashiach. But you get into Luke and that, the gospel and that, if you put any of these, if you look back, you put any of them before him, you put, if you look back and all that, you're not worthy of them. I mean, after all, folks, he did create us. Okay, you wouldn't have a wife, or you wouldn't have a husband, you wouldn't have a brother if it wasn't for Elohim. Well, let's continue on to Deuteronomy chapter 14. Ye are the children of the Lord your God. Ye shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, and above all the nations that are upon the earth. Okay, before we continue on here to verse 3, this was also in Leviticus. Now we're going to be going over the dietary instructions. Not only that, welcome and shalom to Wilfred Witzke. When you go over that stuff, folks, we're not talking regular tattoos, okay? And I shouldn't have done this. I think this is a sin when I committed this. I sinned in having this done by a tattoo artist. Now, what they're talking about is the way those people would mourn or whatever for their dead, the heathen nations. They would really cut in. What's those type of tattoos that people get today,
They're the electronic tattoos.
The electronic tattoos. I mean, the ones that dig right in your arms, and you can't have that lasered off or anything. It's there forever. You could compare that more as being accurate, is what I'm saying. But we weren't supposed. The Israelites were not supposed to do that. Anyway, verse 3: Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which ye shall eat: the ox, the sheep, and the goat, the hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the pygarg, and the wild ox, and the chamois, and every beast that parteth the hoof, and cleaveth the cleft into two claws, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that ye shall eat. Nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the cloven hoof, as the camel, and the hare, and the coney, for they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean unto you. And the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. These ye shall eat of all that are in the waters, of all that have fins and scales shall ye eat, and whatsoever hath not fins and scales ye may not eat. It is unclean unto you. Of all clean birds ye shall eat, but these are they of which ye shall not eat: the eagle, and the ostrich, and the osprey, and the glede, and the kite, and the vulture after his kind, and every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, the little owl, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gyre eagle, and the cormorant, and the stork, and the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat, and every creeping thing that flieth is unclean unto you. They shall not be eaten. But of all clean fowls ye may eat. Ye shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat it, or thou mayest sell it unto an alien. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk. Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed that the field bringeth forth year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name there, the tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thine oil, and the firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always. And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there, when the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, then shalt thou turn it into money, and bind up the money in thine hand, and shalt go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desireth, and thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine household, and the Levite that is within thy gates. Thou shalt not forsake him, for he hath no part nor inheritance with thee. At the end of 3 years thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates. And the Levite, because he hath no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand which thou doest. It's all 29 verses of Deuteronomy chapter 14.
There's also another kind of thing. It was where they burn a stamp in their arm too.
Okay, fine. Anyway, we're not supposed to be carving out markings in any way, shape, or form on the temples that God gave us to dwell in. But anyway, let's see. I'm checking the chat here, guys. I think it's only Wilford that's typed in thus far with you, Deb. All right, chapter 15. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release, and this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine with thy brother, thine hand shall release. Save when there shall be no poor among you, for the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. Only if thou carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all these commandments which I command thee this day. For the Lord thy God blesseth thee, as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. And thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. If there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother. But thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release is at hand, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him not, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be sin unto thee. Thou shalt surely give him and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in thy land. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man or an Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress, of that wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee. Therefore I command thee this thing today. And it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee in thine house, because he is well with thee, then thou shalt take an awl, and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise. It shall not seem hard unto thee when thou sendest him away free from thee, for he hath been worth a double hired servant to thee, in serving thee 6 years, and the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all that thou doest. And all the firstling males that come out of thy herd, and of thy flock thou shalt sanctify unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work with the firstling of thy bullock, nor shear the firstling of thy sheep. Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God, year by year, in the place which the Lord shall choose, thou and thy household. And if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind, or have any ill blemish, thou shalt not sacrifice it unto the Lord thy God, but thou shalt eat it within thy gates. The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike, as the roebuck and as the hart. Only thou shalt not eat the blood thereof, thou shalt pour it upon the ground as water. And that is all 23 verses of Deuteronomy chapter 15. She's having a lot of fun, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, one more chapter, and we'll chat a little bit, and then I'll show that one video, and then maybe a couple of fun videos after that, folks. That being said, talk about it a little bit here. Blood was a thing, that to this day is still used in many pagan rituals, and Elohim did not want the Israelites getting caught up into that. Get rid of it. Also, too, talking about the poor are always among us. Yeshua said that too. Poor always be with you. He knew what Judas Iscariot was up to, of course. Iscariot, he really could have cared less about the poor or anybody else for that matter. But if you help people that are in need, not that are taking advantage in the wrong way, but are in need, then you will be blessed for this. In several ways, I'm guessing. I mean, I don't know how you as an individual, God will bless or whatever, but it could be financially, it could be with good health, better spiritual understanding, on and on, better with relationships with people. So it's something that we've been commanded to do since, since Moshe, led the Israelites out of Egypt. So anyway, chapter 16. Observe the month of Abib. Now, that's King James. It really, more properly, is called Aviv. Chapter 16. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord thy God of the flock and the herd in the place which the Lord shall choose to place his name there. Thou shalt eat no unleavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction, for thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coasts 7 days. Neither shall there anything of the flesh which thou sacrificest the first day at even remain all night until the morning. Thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, but at the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name in, there thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt. And thou shalt roast and eat it in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, and thou shalt turn in the morning and go unto thy tents. 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work therein. 7 weeks shalt thou number unto thee. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as thou beginnest to put the sickle to the corn. And thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto the Lord thy God with a tribute of a freewill offering of thine hand, which thou shalt give unto the Lord thy God, according as the Lord thy God hath blessed thee. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates, and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow that are among you, in the place which the Lord thy God hath chosen to place his name there. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe and do these statutes. Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacle 7 days. After that thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine, and thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son, and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite, the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are within thy gates. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord shall choose. Because the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thine increase, and in all the works of thine hands. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he hath given thee. Judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. Thou shalt not wrest judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift. For a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. That which is altogether just shalt thou follow, that thou mayest live and inherit the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not plant thee a grove of any trees near unto the altar of the Lord thy God, which thou shalt make thee. Neither shalt thou set thee up any image which the Lord thy God hateth. It's all 22 verses of chapter 16 of Deuteronomy. Now, the next chapter, I probably should just read it, but I'll wait until the next live stream, folks. Because starting at verse 8, that's where they really get into how things need to be worked out and meted out between the qualified judges and that. Hold on a second. Yep. Yeah, you'll come unto the priests and the Levites and unto the judge that shall be in those days and inquire. You know, this is really key here. And you look at what's going on with the secular courts these days, especially the blue woke libtard states. Not good at all. Even the ones that are more conservative and have a little bit more law and order, it's bad there too, just not as bad yet. But that being said, this is where it's too bad that we can't get unified enough as believers in the Lord Jesus Christ. It really is. And you're not going to find this on Google so easily. You can find it on Google. There's depending on which source you look up, 30,000, 32,000 Christian denominations around the world. But the actual more accurate number is more than that. It's actually around 62,000 or more. That being said, so it's a point. Not all 62,000 plus can be right. And people are going to the secular courts on a regular basis. They have been for a long time. I've listened to Christians do that. Recommend it. Even though Paul says it in Corinthians. You're going to the world to judge our, to judge here our matters. He was against that. But anyway, there's a lot to take in there, folks. And that being said, now going on to some other things here and that. Let's see. I have a video I'm going to play for you. I'll play the full thing. And do we have anybody watching even right now?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we do. This is ridiculous. But these are things I use a lot of this guy's content. You see me do it in the past. I do recommend that you subscribe to him and hit the notification bell, folks. It's Riverside Homestead with Cohen Barston. And he's keeping track of a lot of stuff. He does
rewatching.
He does an excellent job there. But that being said, well, whoever, but that being said, folks, I'll go ahead and get him going here. This is new for me too. I usually watch this stuff ahead of time to know if I'm doing clips or whatever. And I haven't watched this yet. So, but let's go ahead and watch this together.
Yeah, it's how they're going to get us into 15-minute cities.
Okay.
60,000 people homeless in a city. About to get worse. Experts warn Washington to take precaution as wildfire smoke worsens air quality.
There are fears today the fires in Washington state could get even worse as weather conditions worsen. 3 fires near Spokane are still burning out of control after destroying hundreds of buildings, including homes.
I thought we've seen enough, right? Actually says wildfires burning in Washington state could worsen.
3 major wildfires still burning around Spokane, Washington, with a combined footprint of more than 10,000 acres. They started on Saturday, August 1st. Since then, more than 700 structures have been destroyed. The PIO, the Public Information Officer for the California-based team that's commanding firefighting operations, spoke on how those conditions have changed since their containment efforts began.
And it's supposed to get worse. Are you serious? Oh, and guess what? Power cut to thousands. Evacuations remain as crews work to contain historic wildfires raging in the Northwest. Do you guys see all of the power that's getting cut? A lot of speculation these days on why these fires are actually igniting. I know that there's a couple people that they have as suspects, but you dig around and there's definitely some other analogies on what the heck is going on. This being one of them.
Teddy Roosevelt drank a gallon of coffee every single day. He was the most energetic president in American history.
Hey guys, my name is Cohen here at Riverside Homestead, and if you're brand new here, welcome. And if you guys are into prepping tips, emergency preparedness, and most important, news and awareness that affects you, be sure to start this video off with a like, hit that notification bell so you guys can stay up to date, and let's begin.
You guys want to know what's crazy? Same time last year, our homestead in Washington State, level 3 evacuation. Guess what's going on now? More threatening wildfires. Is some of these states in daggone United States just going to completely burn up? Now, before I show you some updates on this fire right now, because I know you guys are all looking at updates, like this one right here, Leavenworth. It's a little Bavarian town close to Wenatchee on the other side of the Cascades from Seattle, Washington. A lot of people go there. Leavenworth air quality, 1 hour outside is equal to smoking 6 cigarettes. So if you guys aren't a smoker, I mean, you might want to consider a thing or two. I want to show you guys a link here in a little bit. It's going to show you exactly what the air quality is in your guys' area. It's going to be a really good tool. And for those of you guys in Washington, actually, let me show you this real quick because it's going to get worse. Experts warn Washingtonians to take precautions as wildfire smoke worsens the air quality. This is what you guys have to look forward to, even going into the weekend and probably next week.
Taking live looks all around the Puget Sound area on this Como weather-worn day. Wildfire smoke is once again lowering our air quality across the state. This has become an all too familiar scene in the summertime. Good evening. I'm Molly Shen.
And I'm Preston Phillips. An air quality alert is in effect for parts of the region and is prompting health concerns for millions of people. This is a live look at the Washington State Department of Ecology's air quality map. And you can see the air quality ranges from moderate here in western Washington to unhealthy in parts of eastern Washington and hazardous in the Wenatchee area, registering at more than 400.
Seattle's getting a little bit of the smoke, but folks on the other side, I'm talking about Penasket, Pateros, Chelan, Wenatchee, Yakima, Quincy, anything east of the mountains, Spokane, Washington, good Lord. A lot of places seeing the highest damaging air quality that they have ever seen. But before we get into that, I want to show you guys something because this came across and this is for, entertainment purposes only, of course. But this is something that's going around the web as what some people think that is causing this fire. And I want to know what you guys think about this type of perspective. And after that, I want to show you guys this tool to be able to see what type of air quality you guys have coming down the pipe because things are about to get really bad. Seriously, I've got so much to show you guys, including a guy on his roof that's about ready to get engulfed in flames. But let's watch what this guy has to say because this is one of the things that's floating all over the internet. And it might just be some crazy theory. I can't tell you that this is true, but I can tell you that this is definitely a viral trend. You guys can let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Watch this.
So see if we can hit on these fires in Washington. Looks like the Palisades, looks like Lahaina. The government and electric companies are notorious for burning down cities. And we're going to talk about that today. So someone will probably say it's climate change, but let's read this one. Forest fire as a military weapon. U.S. Department of Agriculture. So let's just say the government didn't do it, but a smart meter did it. Do you see how that house is burned right here, but these plants are all perfectly green? And those trees? You know, the government and electric companies are notorious for burning down cities. And we're going to talk about that today. So someone will probably say it's climate change, but let's read this one. Forest fire as a military weapon. U.S. Department of Agriculture. So let's just say the government didn't do it, but a smart meter did it. Do you see how that house is burned right here, but these plants are all perfectly green? And those trees? That's because when smart meters catch on fire, that's exactly what they look like. See all these? All over the country. 90 million smart meters across the country. And it just so happens the city that burned was a smart city with grids, with smart meters, and everything interconnected from the electric company. And if you remember all those fires in California, Palisades lawsuit claims that faulty PG&E smart meters started their house fires. Then someone might say, well, I work for the electric company. They would never do that. Former meter reader testifies at California Public Utilities Commission, Santa Rosa, California, 2012, smart meters cause fires. And let's just show one of the smart meters catching on fire and then the whole house burning down. Yeah, it's interesting that this was kind of wiped off the internet. You know, when you try to type in smart meter fires, it'll say, those don't happen. Here's the evidence. And this is the evidence that gets wiped off the internet so people aren't aware, so that they can blame climate change and the government can keep setting up 15-minute cities and the electric companies can keep putting out smart meters. And if you do have a smart meter on your house, get an analog meter. You need to opt out. Guess what? They can't do this and they can't keep burning down every city across the nation and then calling it climate change and writing books about climate change. You do have a smart meter on your house? Get an analog meter. You need to opt out. If enough people opted out, guess what? They can't do this and they can't keep burning down every city across the nation and then calling it climate change and writing books about climate change, yada, yada, yada. Love you all. And the smart meters are also in Canada too, just so you're aware, and they make your bill 4 times the price.
Now, you guys are going to have to tell me your thoughts on that. Like I said, this is a perspective that's being floated around the internet right now. I cannot tell you on this platform that that is true, but I can tell you that that's definitely an interesting thing to do a rabbit hole dive on. Again, right here, I mean, it's getting worse, and they're saying it's getting worse. Power cut to thousands, evacuations remain as crews work to contain historic wildfire raging in the Northwest that has been very, very closely related to the one that happened in Hawaii and Palisades. Interesting, right? This one right here it's a big city in Washington. This is 2 hours from our homestead, and we've got one even closer. Right? So this one right here, I mean, 60,000 people evacuated. Look at this guy. This guy is on his house spraying the roof and the flames are about ready to take him out. Check it out.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at that across the street. Holy shit, dude. Look at this house. Oh my God, they're all done, dude. Yeah, fight your shit, dude. You gotta fight for your shit, dude. That one house was just I was caught on fire, dude. Oh my God. If I was not with Sarah right now, I couldn't help it. Dude.
You guys see the guy standing on his roof? I mean, this thing could get taken in the next couple minutes. And then you hear stuff exploding in the background, probably propane tanks and everything else. Huge explosions. This guy is holding down the dang fort.
Dude. Dude, that guy's fighting. Come on, man. You got see that right there? Stick like a over there. Oh my. What is that? But I know, dude, it is horrible. This is bad. We're going.
You need to get out of here.
Never do this with an older cat.
Wet food or dry food? It's the question I've heard from cat parents for more than 50 years, and the real answer almost always catches them off guard. Wet food contains more moisture to simulate fresh meat, which leads many people to believe.
Fire department came by and said, you need to get out of here. That's crazy, guys. I mean, those houses, it's almost like they're pinpointed like they're going to burn. And that black smoke looked real bad. This right here is what it's looking like in Lake Chelan. This is not even like 15 minutes from our homestead. This photo was taken from Manson, Washington, right there at Lake Chelan, where the AQI is 233. Some monitors in Chelan are recording AQI at 346. Now, I've heard numbers way higher than this. Let me show you guys here in just a minute a tool that you guys can go around and look at actual numbers and know what's supposed to be perceived with that. It'll be really helpful if you guys are in the area or in the state or even any of these other states that are burning up. It's absolutely wild. And if you guys are in the Spokane Valley or anywhere near, this is from Cairo 7, we are not going to be downgrading these zones in any large way for many more days to come. Sheriff John Nowles said, we have many, many encounters with citizens who are angry. They're trying to push past. We really need to have this kind of behavior stop. And right here on the post, it says Spokane County Sheriff says evacuations won't be lifted for many, many more days. This right here is a map of Washington. Those aren't clouds, folks. That's all smoke. It says yet another smoky morning across all of Washington state today. You can see that the smoke is settled into the western Washington mountain valleys now, and air quality is horrible across much of the area. And what does the Northwest have to look forward to? Not good. Right here, just in, weather warning upgrade for central and eastern Washington and north central Oregon for Friday, Saturday. Dangerous fire weather conditions will develop, allowing wildfires to spread quickly. So listen, we aren't even at the weekend and they're already saying that this will get worse. This right here is a great image. I've been through several wildfires and this is kind of what it feels like and looks like. The wildfire smoke blanketing the Wenatchee Valley is not only causing issues for residents, it's also preventing air resources from aiding the fire against the Little Giant Fire. This is a completely different fire that is out of control, and they use the Columbia River to dip into, and honestly, from the highway, you can hardly see the Columbia River, and it runs right next to it. Came across this post, and I want to show you this before I show you this website that shows you the air quality. It says, do you know how hot a fire has to be to pulverize concrete blocks and brown bricks into ash? It's 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And with that temperature, it takes at least 4 hours to do it. It says, ain't a natural open wood fire in the world that burns that hot. They burn at around 750 to 1,100 degrees Fahrenheit, even extreme wind aided. And this is what I've been telling people. A campfire coals, you're lucky to hit like 1,200 degrees. To do what some of this damage is happening on these homes is upwards of 3,000 degrees. And when you have a pine tree sitting right next to the house that still has its needles on it, you need to start asking some questions, because to melt the glass and to melt the concrete and to melt the metal, no ponderosa pine heavy sapped tree is going to be standing right next door. It even says wood fires only get to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. A directed weapon like a laser burns that hot almost instantly. Some of these people are suggesting that it's almost like a directed energy with an A type of thing that's possibly capable of doing something like this. And I'm sure these guys are not correct. Just put it down in the comments what you guys think. It says some type of tool kind of like this can go to 7,000 degrees, and concrete and bricks pulverized almost instantly. 7,000 degrees, a wood stick house would incinerate into ash in minutes, kind of like what we saw almost in some cases. Whatever is going on with these wildfires, in quotes, it isn't natural and hasn't been since the Lahaina, Hawaii. Something is doing it, is what a lot of people are thinking. If you guys think these guys are telling the truth, just put it down in the comments. Let me know what you think about their opinion. Some people are saying a laser or microwave could do it, but no way a match and some gas can. They go on to talk about, the power utility company, upcoming data centers, and a bunch of other stuff. Another interesting side note, do you know who is significant shareholder of Pacific Gas and Electric power utility that would be paid for supplying power in the Palisades or or California. That'd be the big V company or the big old Blackstone company. Says, look it up for yourself. It's in public records. This person's opinion is it would seem that the wildfires, land buyouts, power utilities, and data centrals are all owned by the same guys. And another nugget this guy throws in is, who do you think is trying to buy up all the land that was destroyed in the Lahaina wildfire? The big V company and the big Blackstone company. He says, look it up in public records. So in this case, the people that need the land, want the land for the old DATRO centers, they're going to get it one way or another. And this type of analogy says similar burn patterns in 3 different locations at 3 different times, and every area that has been destroyed has one group interested in the outcomes. The big V and the big B group. Yeah, he says tighten up the old tinfoil hat because things are about to get real interesting, as a lot of times when things are about to get worse, they tell us and they say the storms are going to get worse. So buckle up. Make sure you guys are prepared. I'll keep an eye on all this stuff. Like, it's not looking good, but we're going to switch it up. We've got a lot of recalls coming up, stuff that you're buying at the stores, and some scandalous things happening in the stores. We'll cover a few other things in the coming days. But nonetheless, I'm going to keep you guys up to date on what I think you need to know. Make sure you guys' notification bell is on and you're still subscribed. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Please share this if you found value. Hit the like button. Helps the channel. And keep learning, keep doing. We'll see you guys on the next one.
All right. We got it. Even though I hadn't seen it, I pretty much trust his stuff. And I knew that when Deb recommended it to me. Now, we're not Mormons. We're just joking around, Hoss. I know plenty about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and that. And there's Joseph Smith and Brigham Young, blah, blah, blah. No, we're not into that. I'm totally against it. That being said, folks, I'm trying to decide if I should play some funny videos, but I really don't want to. I just don't. Oh, maybe I should. I don't know. I mean,
Well, get a vote.
You want me to play some stuff
videos
from Mr. Burgundy? Or, I mean, if you do, fine. I could do that.
Give us a thumbs up if you want to see a Mr. Burgundy. Silly stuff.
Let's see. And he's got good little short videos. I don't normally, lately, yesterday and today, I played full videos that were longer.
Said no lip stuff.
Well, not even showing how stupid they are. Well, there's Mom Donnie. I remember, they're putting that up and stuff. And
oh man, they really cheered. They screamed him off the stage.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Don't worry, Nicole. I'll deal with Debbie Webby Kicky Wakey later. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
No, I'll deal with you first.
But I'll just play one, folks. I'm still doing my research and stuff, and I'm not really overly what do you call it?
He said funny dog videos. Why don't you find some of those?
I'd have to look and take time to do it. I don't really want to do that right now, but there's a lot of stuff going on, and Riverside Homestead that Cohen Barson has done things on what he said already. He'll be doing them again, obviously. A lot of scams are going on in stores and that and whatever. So
I got a funny video for you.
But
hey, you shut the camera.
You want me to put it back on? Okay.
Come here, midget. Here
Hold on.
is the funny video.
Yeah, we got that from Toys R Us, didn't we? AI dog, a little AI.
Yeah,
probably
Miss
not.
Prissy, she's 3.5 pounds, almost 4 months.
Yeah, she's kind of a little thing.
She's a miracle.
Well, that
majority of all her half siblings and stuff croaked. before they even got.
Yeah, it was
off the
a
box.
horrible backyard breeder who didn't know what he was doing and got in over his head. And this one was able to be saved. And
Yeah, she went through a lot with us.
yeah, but
She's a little.
she's like an ESA pet,
Oh yeah,
emotional support animal for Deb, and she does a good job. Now during the video of Riverside Homestead, I had to get up and she's doing it right now that Deb let her go. She's real fascinated with my brand new slippers, and she likes to try.
With shoes, period.
She likes to try and chew into them. So I had to get up and give her to Deb. Anyway, let's get this moving again. Hold on. Okay. Alrighty. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Just an hour, a minute and 49 seconds here. All right. Here we are.
Are prisons obsolete?
Whew, coming through with the quotes, through with the titles of the books. I have to read that, actually. I haven't read that as yet. But I think that, frankly, I mean, what purpose do they serve? What purpose do they serve?
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
So we can disagree on something as basic as whether or not there should be prisons?
That's
not your position.
There are prisons,
Yes.
and what we're also showing in this city is that safety is not something that's up for debate.
Safety is not something that's up for debate.
What a hypocrite!
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
Go ahead, make a rap for you're not a...
It's a rap.
I got 3 words: anger management. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for some more dancing? Oh, no, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're getting awards. Somebody's getting an award. You want to see who's getting an award? Come on, guys. I want some energy here.
Then the worm has definitely turned for you, man.
I took my $5,000 hearing aid out and put this
what do you
in
do?
instead. I haven't
What are you
asked
gonna
anyone
do?
to.
Anyway, that's enough. I don't think New York's going to be able to make a comeback. There'd have to be true repentance. Well, I don't like it at all either. That's why I take breaks from my research, like with my Jewish counterparts, Haas. I don't like it. I've been accused now, again, of being anti-Semitic, and, you know, that'd kind of be an oxymoron. But I know the scriptures, and I know what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, we don't hate the Jews or the
I don't
Hebrews.
I don't hate those people. Don't get me wrong. I want them to repent. I want them to get Jesus Christ. But
I just don't like the Sanhedrin.
I've told you this in theory before too. Do I think America theoretically can repent and become the head again, not the tail? That they can be a nation blessed by God? Yes, I do. Do I think it's going to happen?
No.
Dubious. I'm trying to be positive here by only saying the word dubious. I mean, it's not that long ago when we got hit. It'll be 25 years ago, coming up September 11th here. September 11th, 2001 on a Tuesday when we were attacked. Rudolph Giuliani was the mayor at that time, and he was the spokesman for the entire country, really, while they had President George Walker Bush up in the air in that plane, keeping him safe, while the rest of the New Yorkers suffered. I don't really have a real fondness either for Giuliani, but he was probably the best city mayor they've had in a very long time, if not ever. He's got his own problems, I know that, but a quarter of a century ago, I guess it's long enough ago where people forget. Some people are around, they're born and they weren't around then, so they didn't experience it. I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing. And when my girlfriend at that time told me, you better turn on the TV and see what's going on. So did it help? No. People aren't repenting. There was a while where both the conservatives, supposedly GOP, and the libtards and all that were, God bless America. Churches and synagogues were getting overfilled there for a few weeks. And of course, it was ephemeral. So that being said, true repentance has never happened. I don't think, it won't surprise me any if it never does. Oh, of course he did. Of course he did, Hoss. Yeah. But I get accused of a lot of things. I want Jew and Gentile alike to have Jesus Christ, our true Messiah, and to be obedient. Jesus sure didn't say do away with everything and just be an idiot, like a once saved, always saved, or something like that. But like a loosey goosey, greasy, gracy, sloppy agape Christian, that irks me in some ways just as much as my Jewish counterparts do. Even with Paul's writings, when they go to Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9, that's fine. But usually in debates and whatever, or even just plain discussions, I've had to be the one to say, excuse me, maybe we should read verse 10 as well. You guys look that up. You'll know what I'm talking about. Well, of course, a lot of people do that. And, but anyway, now, one thing I want to make clear too, and I don't know if I made it clear on how many live streams ago or not, but when I talked about that and that I think it is possible for the United States to do, can we get blessed again and have God relent a little bit with his wrath? Yes. However, we still have a lot to pay for. We have a lot to answer to. We've got, isn't it close to 70 million abortions since 1973? How many nations have we bestowed ourselves upon our way of life, which we had no business of doing? How many genocides did we let happen? Didn't lend a hand, didn't lift a finger to stop, but yet for some odd reason, it had nothing to do with that. The elites had no money invested in that area. Come on.
It happened to be one in Gaza.
I think we're on our way down. When? I don't know how. There's a combination of ways it'll happen, I think. Not just one or two ways. People say financial. I agree. Isn't going bankrupt as a nation. We are really now, but we're pretending that we're not. Militarily, possibly. Look at the sleeper cells. Are they still? They're probably around. They seem to be pretty smart.
We're on our way to the beast system.
And that. So, and then of course people from coming outside and that. You and me both. My back actually, Hoss, but there's just so many things, And I think even when I talk about can we prolong it like a King Josiah deal in the Tanakh or Old Testament, of course we can. But at the end of the day, the Judahites and the Benjamites had to answer. Josiah was killed in action. And later down the road with their last king, Zedekiah, was, I think originally his name was Matthias, but wasn't it Nebuchadnezzar that renamed him Zedekiah? They they went down, and they went down hard. How hard? We are similar. We have similarities to Israel, the biblical Israel. We're not the same, though. There are differences in that. So, and I don't claim to understand or know all about it. I do have a lot of knowledge in that, but there's so many different avenues. It's like the videos that you watch. Sometimes I take, when I take a break, I'll watch an alternative ending to Terminator 2 Judgment Day, you know, or something. I mean, a lot of that could be going on for future predictions, and I don't like to do that. I'm not a prophet.
Isn't it interesting? One of his videos, their latest videos, is called Genesis, and what do we have?
Well,
Genesis mission.
Anyway, look, I'm just saying that, you know, there's so many things going on. We can't keep up with it all. I know, like Wilfred Witzke gave me a source to go look up on BitChute, and I did it. I'm probably going to have to look at it again and take more notes. All you people, I mean, we can work as a team on this. And look, if we wake up somebody, I mean, look at my views, not very many. Look at my subscribers, not very many. But if we can wake up even just one or two, you know, or more, I mean, it's worth it to me. I don't like seeing people be destroyed, perishing because of lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And, you know,
But the wicked knowledge is growing.
you know, so we can only do what we can do. Deb and I have been through a lot of hard knocks and been persecuted. I told you about some of it yesterday on that live stream, because we're true believers. That's another thing we need to be really on guard for, folks. People who are self-proclaimed Bible believers, man, they'll cut your head off faster than most of them will.
I think they'll do God a favor.
Yep. So that being said, I mean, at least I know from a person who hates God, who is straight up about that he or she does not believe in the scriptures and that. I mean, I can it's too bad. It's a sad thing, but I can respect it. Really, I can. At least I know where he or she is coming from. They're a lot more straight up. Now, when I say about these Bible believers that are really wicked, I do believe they have their own version where they are being honest and they are believing the Bible. What they have with their tinted glasses and the slanted way that they've been taught.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about doing some ways too about how you're taught, the way you're brought up. I've been getting into some of those videos again now too. Some of the teachers. I just subbed to this guy. Let me look.
We were all taught a lie from the day of our birth.
Well, yeah, but even just the education system, people can't even think for themselves anymore. I'm not saying we were perfect back in my day in the dinosaur age. We weren't, but we were a lot closer to it. I might do some videos on this. I don't know yet. But the way our children are being taught, and this has been going on where the elites started doing this. I've seen it, Hoss. I've seen it, but on a regular basis, no, I don't. The Feynman archives, and maybe if two of you guys want to look at it a little bit and give me your say. I trust, for the most part anyway, I trust my crowd.
Yeah, I watched that.
I think Deb watches that particular one more than I do, but I've seen it. And he's not the only one, but he is really good. Just what I've been looking at here. I just subscribed to him. Now, that being said, folks, there's only so much you can do. And if people don't want to listen to it, they're not going. I mean, look, you can give truth all day long. All right. And yeah, I mean, you can scream it in their face, shove it down their throats, which will really do no good. None whatsoever. Yeah, it's absolutely worthless. But at least you tried. The blood is not, it's not worthless in the sense of on you. It's not, the blood is not on your head anymore. Go to Ezekiel about that one. Of course, that's, been done away with at the cross too, according to a lot of these greasy gracers. And it just irks me to no end. I mean, it's obvious to me. I'm not saying you need the Holy Spirit, what we call the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, you really do. However, just a little EQ as an equilibrium quotient or just say see us for common sense. How do you say this? Just to see things blatantly in our faces is common sense to me. And there are a lot of people that aren't even really in salvation that can see a lot of this nonsense. And they don't want their kids being put through that crap. They don't want to have to be put through the pain of it. You know, and I'm kind of veering off. I'm going to various directions, but even back to New York, I think New York is done. That's really going to be a big factor internationally as well as nationally. It's a big port. It's probably about the biggest port in the world, really.
Other than Florida and California.
Oh, yeah, I know it is. California has the biggest economy in the United States, but as far as in and out to different countries, New York, it's there. It's there. A lot more so than Cali. And so that being said, New York, I know there had to be enough cheaters, illegals voting and stuff. I don't doubt that. But at the same time, people, again, being drummed down, MK Ultra, slanted a certain way, whatever, depending on each individual. A lot of those people were stupid enough to vote.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Anyway, people were dumb enough to vote for Zoran, the moron, Mom Donnie, and they're getting it. They made their bed and they need to lie in it. Maybe, again, repent and get them out of there in 4 years. Trump doesn't have the balls to do it. No. We shouldn't be having self-proclaimed socialists that are really, if you look at the definition of the way they talk, they're really commies. They're communists. And they're a combination of other things. Totalitarians. They're in some way. Deb, please. They're also, to an extent, they're fascists. They think they're better than us. They're, you know, and they deserve to rule over us, and we're just their little shit bags. And either these people are going to wake up and vote him out, or Trump is maybe going to get a sack. These people shouldn't even be in office. They're supposed to be our public servants. They're supposed to, you know, even if it disagrees with them, technically a public servant, especially when it's more local yokel, even if it's against what he or she wants. They're supposed. You going back to the bedroom now?
It's.
I figured because I hollered at you. Anyway, do you want this off? No.
No.
Okay.
I'm just gonna.
Anyway, they want to, you know, it doesn't matter if they're against it. That's what the majority of the people want. That's what they voted for. I need to go this way, regardless of my personal beliefs. But they don't. They're just trying to bestow their dystopian regime on us. And so anyway, folks, I think I said enough. I've shown enough videos. God willing, I will be doing this tomorrow, starting with Deuteronomy chapter 17, which I really love that chapter. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, stand your guard. Stay safe out there. Keep your heads on your swivels. All right? Pray for one another. Get together as best you can, face to face. And if you can't, use technology for the good. All right, peace, shalom. The Levite man is out of here. Later.